Hi, thank you once again for joining us on Pest Podcast Africa. My name remains Dr. Tolu and I'm your regular host on Pest Podcast Africa. This afternoon, I have with me a very integral part of the Rotimax team. We're going to be focusing on the necessary information that is expected of pest control professionals in maintaining manual and knapsack sprayer, compressed sprayers, and motorized sprayers. These are three equipments that are regularly used by pest control professionals. So we're going to be talking about what is needed in maintaining, servicing, troubleshooting when you have issues with this, what you are meant to do. Usually I don't introduce my guests by myself. I always allow them to do the talking when it comes to introduction. So my guest is the operations manager of Rotimax Integrated Services Limited, the pest control unit, and I want him to quickly introduce himself to our teaming audience.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much, Dr. Tolu. My name is John Adekoya. I am the operations manager, pest control unit of Rotimax Integrated Services Limited.
I highlighted three equipment to speak about on what pest controllers need to do. Maybe when they are working with it, they have issues with it, how to even set it up. It's not all the time that you can rush to the main technicians that fix this machine, how to service them, what the do's and the don'ts, so that you don't have to be even going for repairs regularly and all that. So we're going to be starting from manual sprayers. What are the challenges or what are the situations that always require the usage of manual sprayer? What are the situations that usually require the usage of compressed sprayer? What are the situations that always require the usage of motorized sprayer? They will now go to the maintenance.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tolu. Starting with the manual sprayer, the usage, the machine can be used to treat insects, crawling and flying insects in the indoor and outdoor areas. And this machine is a machine that is very durable, and it can also be used for contact spraying against pests like bed bugs or wall gecko. Reptiles usually find their way to creep into cracks and crevices around the house. And some of the pesticides that we use also, can serve as a form of repellent to those pests. When you spray them, they, tend to leave that vicinity because of, the action or the reaction of those pesticides. So the knapsack can be used to effectively control pests in such manners.
Okay, what about compressed sprayers?
Okay, the compressed manual sprayer is a machine that is like an hybrid form of the knapsack. It's a machine that is semi-automatic, and that means that before you start using the machine, unlike the knapsack where you continuously have to apply your human effort to, build the pressure and make it come out, the compressed sprayer is a machine that you just need to build the pressure before you start the usage. So it has a gauge on it that, when you put it down, you actually have to pump it and the pressure builds inside the machine, then the machine can be used for spraying. Compressed sprayers are majorly used for indoor residual spraying. Yes, that means that you have to deposit pesticide on the wall against any pest that can reinfest the facility that has just been treated. So compressed sprayer gives you a very fine particles of pesticide, droplets that cannot even, you hardly notice it when you spray it, effectively on the wall.
All right. You've spoken very well, and I'm very, very proud of your responses. One of the true mark of leadership is the ability to replicate yourself in others, and I'm quite impressed. Lastly, motorized sprayer. What situations usually require the usage of motorized sprayer? When you're done with this, then we'll now go to the maintenance aspects and how to service them.
Okay, the motorized sprayer is a machine, although the knapsack and the motorized sprayer, they have similar characteristics. They both bring out mist. The motorized sprayer is also called a mist blower, but it produces large volume of mist. And this machine is typically meant to be used in the outdoor areas alone to control both crawling and flying pests in the outdoor space. So because of the large volume of pesticide that this machine can release at a time, it is important to use it in the outdoor space. And it also has an exhaust that produces carbon. So this smoke, if you tend to use this machine inside, you can end up filling up the entire space in the room with the smoke, which is not a good one. So the motorized sprayer is actually meant to be used in the outdoor space for control of crawling and flying.
All right,
pests.
thank you so much. So, Pest Podcast Africa remains the only platform, is the first pest podcast platform in Africa, and it remains the only platform where you can get very insightful information about pest control. We do coverage of pest control events, and also it's a platform dedicated into encouraging professionalism in the pest control industry in Africa. Pest Podcast Africa is a brainchild of Rotimax Pest Control Training Academy and Rotimax Integrated Services Limited. Thank you for listening to us so far. Now we're going out to go and do a proper explanation with a video demonstration of how to service, maintain properly a knapsack sprayer, a motorized sprayer, and a compressed manual sprayer. Thank you.
To maintain the knapsack sprayer, these are some of the steps that you need to take. Usually, one of the major problem of this machine is clogging. Yes, and what can cause clogging? Clogging can be caused when you continuously leave remnants of pesticide inside the machine, or when you don't wash the machine thoroughly after usage. So these are the things that can, affect the machine. So what are the parts of the machine that you can check to be able to fix it, or you kind of do it yourself when you're on the job site, in case if the machine refuses to spray out chemical through the nozzle. Now, the first thing to do is that you have to bring out the entire nozzle. Now, you start from the elbow here. Then you need to lose this part. When you lose this part, you spray, you pump the machine, then you try and spray out. If your content is still not coming out, it shows that the fault could be inside this elbow. So you lose the elbow. All these parts can be loose. Maybe probably if it's too tight, you can get the plier to lose it. So you lose the elbow. After losing the elbow, you try and check if the problem is from the elbow. If the problem is not from the, you check the elbow. If you can see through the elbow, it means that it's in good condition. But if not, then it will be blocked. So you remove whatever is blocking it by hitting it on the surface, and it comes out. If the problem, then you pump the machine again and try to release the content. If the content is still not coming out, it shows that the lance here is the issue. So you need to remove the lance as well. You're losing the lance from the valve, from the trigger valve here. You lose the lance, then you check if the lance is blocked. And you also check again, you pump the machine to see if content can come out when you hold down the trigger. So if the content is not coming out when you hold down the trigger, then that means that the clogging is from the trigger. Now, if the clogging is from the trigger, there's not so much that you can do. All you need to do is to replace the trigger completely. The machine has to be thoroughly washed up to 3 times, and you spray out clean water from the nozzle after every use. Also, remember that you have to open the cover for aeration for at least an hour when you return to the office before you keep the machine inside your store. Thank you very much. Okay, one of the major problems that comes from using the compressed manual sprayer is that if you are not careful, the hose can develop holes, and you start seeing pesticide leaking out from different holes on the body of the hose. So you need to make sure that you check the hose regularly to ensure that there are no holes on it. And 2, the lance for pumping the machine needs to be greased with engine oil always, so that the friction will not make it to get damaged easily. Then you also need to rinse the machine thoroughly with clean water, no soap, and make sure that this is not a machine that you can always sun dry because of rust, because it is made, with metal. So you just need to rinse thoroughly, spray out clean water from the nozzle, and store the machine in a cool and dry place. Then lastly, if the machine is having any issue troubleshooting and is not bringing out pesticide, all you can do is to lose this lance from here, and you hold down the trigger and see if the pesticide is coming out. If it is not coming out, then you need to change the trigger. Thank you. The motorized sprayer can give some issues at the job site, and to have a way of troubleshooting the machine, you need to understand some of these principles. Number one is that whether the machine is on or off, the starter button has to be on always. So even when you turn off the machine, turning off with the starter button, you have to return the button to on always. That's the first step. Two, leaving remnants of fuel and engine oil in the tank is not advisable. So each time you are done with the job, you need to turn out the remnant of fuel and engine oil. Why do you need to turn this out? Because whenever the engine oil settles, it engulfs around the filter inside the tank, and the filter expands and can cause overfloating of the machine. Three, you need to constantly ensure that you take out time to clean the plug of this machine. It's just like a small tiger generator. Since you can't service it, always try as much as possible to lose the plug and clean it. The machine comes with its own tools that can be used for minor maintenance. So lastly, you need to ensure that before you start the job, inside the tank of this machine, there is a hose there. You need to always ensure that the hose is connected properly. There is a channel inside the tank where the hose is meant to be. So you need to ensure that the hose is properly fixed inside that place. If not, you will discover that the machine is leaking out pesticide from various angles on the body. Those are the tips for maintaining a motorized sprayer. Thank you.